Hey, it's Joy. I've got big feelings about little things, and I want to talk about it. Oh yeah, I'm mad about it. And the fact that everyone else is not up in arms about it is a big part of the problem. Oh, I bawled my eyes out, like I always do. It was the sweetest thing. Oh, it was the cutest thing. It was the funniest thing. Thanks for being here. Let's go. Well, hello. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for all the gold stars you gave me last week. I super appreciate it. If you weren't here with us last week, my new bit to encourage myself to do things is to give myself a gold star, which literally means on my to-do list next to the item that I need to do, instead of a check mark, which is the emoji I always used to put in on my to-do list so I could see all my good green check marks, I now put a gold star. And it literally feels like I got a gold star, and it's that little bump of extra dopamine I need to keep going and have a really productive day. Listen, I give a verbal gold star all the time to people I know, people I work. Hey, gold star work right there. Now I'm finally giving it back to myself. Gold star. You got your laundry put away? That's a big gold star. Ran the dishwasher? That's a gold star. You renewed your car insurance? That's a gold star. These are gold stars all over the place. Really, it's just for any adulting thing that you need to do that you don't want to do. But I'm here doing something I want to do, which is chat with you about Glimmers. I am having huge, overwhelming, positive, fun, bubbling up emotions about Glimmers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Glimmers. It sounds like I'm talking about those things that the girls would put in there. They would put those little strands of like silver or shiny pink stuff in their hair so that it was like a highlight, but it was literally just one little tiny, and they would be, you could put them all over or you could just put a couple. But it's not something that you walk in and you're like, whoa, you have pink streaks in your hair. It's literally like you kind of have to turn your head a certain way, or the hair has to fall a certain way, or the light has to hit it a certain way so that you see that little sparkle. And I honestly don't know the name for that because I'm not cool enough to know that, but I loved that trend. I think they're probably over it. Kids get over their trends faster than I'm able to follow what the trend is. But I loved that. That's what that sounds like to me, but it's not. It's a bigger, better thing than that. So I think you probably know what a trigger is, right? A trigger is something that we see or hear or experience. I mean, any sense, smell it, have a deja vu about it, that brings up some negative emotion, negative feelings. Particularly if there's like an emotional wound there. Like if you had a really traumatic experience on a seesaw when you were 4 years old, and you drive by a place that has a playground and there's a seesaw there, that's a trigger for you. Because that seesaw reminds you of whatever horrible thing happened, how you felt, especially if you were embarrassed and if you're in pain or scared and all the things that triggers all those big feelings. It triggers those emotions. Sometimes you feel like you're exactly back where you were. And sometimes they can be helpful, or just at least identifying them and knowing what they are is helpful for you because, well, let's say for a fact when I walk into this certain place, or I sign up to work with this person, or once I eat this kind of food, here's what I know happens. So you can be fully aware of your triggers. It's actually one of the things we talk about in medicine a lot. Are there triggers for your headaches? Are there triggers for your GI upset? Are there triggers for whatever? Is it a certain food? Is it a certain, I've had certain, like I wear perfume that doesn't sit right with me and it gives me this weird headache, and I just like, that's not for me. So there's all kinds of things that can trigger different things. And if you know ahead of time, okay, this is going to be a trigger for me. I do way better with this circumstance, or having to go to this type of store, or having to do this, whatever, if I've had an extra cup of coffee. So if you know it's coming, have an extra cup of coffee, and then you're pre-ready for when the triggers hit. You're like, whew, I'm grateful I got that caffeine on board. So it can be a helpful thing to identify. Also, if you want to get really deep about it, it tells you where those wounds are. You know, if you really want to get into it, that'll tell you where those early wounds came up. You typically have to get through a couple of layers to get down to what the real issue is. And sometimes I get stuck at like that third from the bottom layer because we're starting to get deep there. You know, we're starting to get really deep into that stuff. But it's very helpful, but it also is bringing up these hard things. Well, a glimmer is almost the opposite thing. It's some little thing that comes up that either makes you smile on its own, or it reminds you of some other good experience that you've had, or reminds you that people are good, or reminds you that you're good at whatever thing. It's the little glimmer. Think of like a little glimmer in your eye of getting a chance to see something positive. And here's the thing about glimmers. They're a lot quieter than triggers, but we need them so much more. A little glimmer that I had the other day. Now, I have to be honest, I'm a nurse and I work with kids, so I get a lot of those little glimmers. I mean, if you want some attention at a kid's hospital, bring a cute baby by. We descend on that cute baby and want to talk about how thick his hair is and how pretty his eyelashes are and how perfect his nose is and how cute he is and how listen to his little rooting noises are so cute, aren't they? I mean, we descend. Come look at this cute baby. You got to come over and look at this cute baby. So I see a lot of cute babies. I see a lot of funny kids, and nothing instills my hope in the future like meeting some of these young girls. There is like this group of kids right now. I would say they're it's a wider range, but I would say these ones between like 7 and 17 right now, they are really cool and they are smart and they're growing up in a very interesting world where in their Barbie movie, there's a weird Barbie. In their Barbie movie, there's a President Barbie. In their school, they are like, some of them have programs in their high school that they will leave that program with some real world experience and a real certificate that says, hey, I'm on my way to doing this. Or here's what I learned about this. All those memes that I see all the time that's like, how dare I have to learn to square dance when I really needed to learn about taxes and what? Well, they're doing this. They're teaching kids some more appropriate things. They're exposing them to more stuff. They're showing them more routes. Like, they're just cool, well-rounded kids. And some of them are funny and some of them are serious. And so I am in a place where I get a lot of free glimmers. And I'm very, very grateful for that, because sometimes I need to be slapped in the face with my glimmer. You know, sometimes I'm not a good listener. Sometimes I won't get quiet. Sometimes I won't stop complaining enough that the glimmer could get over my negative voice. And it's very much like a stop and smell the roses type of thing. You have to, the scent of the rose is not going to find its way to you. You kind of have to seek it out. But it's really just being aware and being ready for it, because they are happening all over. I mean, something in nature, or your favorite song coming up on your playlist, or I mean, hopefully one time you listened to one of these podcasts and it was like, oh my gosh, that is the exact thing I needed to hear today, or that silly, stupid thing she said made me chuckle, or why does this woman not know the word for garage? Like, why did it take her that long to get? I hope there's something fun here. And something fun, when you end up giggling about something silly with your partner or your sister or your coworker, there are little glimmers everywhere. But you have to pay attention to them. And I will tell you this other trick. It's not a trick, but I will tell you this other thing that I've noticed is the more I pay attention to them, the more they reveal themselves. I'm sure you've experienced this before, right? You get a new car, or you buy a new backpack, or you get a new phone case or something. Suddenly you see that everywhere. You see that same car everywhere, or you see, now I got a white Lexus. Let's speak it into existence. I got a white Lexus. So now that same Lexus, I see it everywhere, and I see white cars everywhere because my brain, now that it has that kind of embedded, it's looking for constant confirmation. Like, yes, you did the right thing. You did the right thing. Oh, you recognize that. You know what that is. You're familiar with that. And so when I'm driving around and I'm constantly seeing these other white Lexi, that's a plural of Lexus? Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure, because when I buy mine, I want to already know the terminology. I don't want to have to look it up. I want to be ready to go. I want to walk in and they know you belong here. You belong amongst all these Lexi. You need to drive a Lexus, a white one, and see it around, see the leather seats around. But your brain, the more you notice these glimmers and see these things and start looking for these things, they will keep popping up and they'll make themselves noticeable. And they might start to sound a little louder to you. They're not really louder, but you're like, oh, this is another thing, just like I saw the other day. This is another thing. And it's a very old story. Be grateful. There's cool stuff all over. Look for it. People are cool. Look for it. Look for the ways things work out. Look for the way things line up. I'm having a big year of things being meant to be. At the beginning of the year, I don't know if you know this trick, but the best way to fix every single thing in your life that you don't like is to buy a new notebook. And if you haven't known that before, you're actually very welcome, because I've changed everything for you. But I went to go buy a notebook, and I was going to buy one for a friend of mine as well. I was like, we're going to get notebooks, and we're going to, we're going to make our plans. We're going to put our dreams. We're going to organize. We're going to list. We're going to journal, all the things. That's the beauty of a brand new notebook. It can be anything. It can be your budget. It can be your recipe book. It can be your journal. It can be your workout plan. It can be grocery lists. It can, literally unlimited uses for this life-changing thing. Well, so what do? I go to Target. I go to get my book. And I have this thing in my mind. I have an idea in my mind of kind of what I think it should look like and kind of what it should cost. I think it's going to be like kind of medium sized, and I think it's going to cost about $7. Okay. So I get there and I see a lot of ugly stuff. I see a lot of small stuff, and I see some expensive stuff. And what I'm exactly looking for, I don't quite see. But I saw this one that looked like, how do I describe it? It looked like it had a graph or something on the cover. There was like a pattern on the front, but very plain. Well, I started to look at it, and on the very front inside, there was little stickers that you would put on to make a little pattern, and you could decorate it yourself. So there's all these colorful stickers, and you can just put them on the front and make a decoration for whatever you want. And I was like, that is adorable, actually. I'm definitely getting this, because let's just be honest. Do I want to change everything that is not going perfectly in my life? Yes. Do I need to do it with a little bit of style? Yes. And of course I looked. The thing is $10. I just, you know what? I said, okay, fine. fine, I'm going to spend $10 on it and I'm going to get her a $10 one because you know what? We deserve that. We need this. And it's $10 to change our entire life. Okay, great. So I get to the checkout, which you want to talk about someone that should be good to me and is horrific to me, like treats me horribly despite how I believe I have treated them. It is the Target checkout camera. The way they try to woo me by putting a Starbucks in there and having a bunch of stuff for the house that I want to look at and having a clearance rack that doesn't really mean anything and then having a thing at the front that's $5 a piece and it's nice and it smells good and we're having a good time, but you also feel like you're getting something off your to-do list because you can buy cleaning products and groceries there. The way they try to woo me with that and then try to stamp it with that camera that found the worst lighting I've ever imagined and the top number one worst angle that exists is that camera at the Target checkout. And it feels like a slap in the face every time I'm there. Thank you. I feel so much better getting that off my chest. Okay. But I'm in the self-checkout. I scan it. You know what that thing says? It says $1. $1. So I tell my girlfriend this story and she's like, that is unbelievable. And it's such a good vibe going forward. And I said, this was meant to be. And this whole year, I'm going to look for things that were meant to be. Absolutely meant to be. Because you know what? I don't have anything to do with most of those things. But I'm going to take advantage of them for sure. And I'm going to look for the glimmers. And I'm going to look for things that say, this was supposed to be. Give it a round of applause. And I've had one at least every single week. Like, oh, this scheduling thing, I couldn't even dream this would have worked out so well. Look how perfectly this went. I needed to trade shifts with somebody, but it actually works better for you and better for me if we swap it. That's usually not the case. Usually someone's doing you a favor with something like that. But it works out better than it was supposed to. Heck yeah, meant to be. Glimmers everywhere. I feel like I want to raise a champagne to you right now. 2025, meant to be, glimmers everywhere. Go out and see them.
Thanks for listening to Little Things, Big Feelings with Joy Delaney. I'm James, the producer, editor, director, and executive producer. Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Honestly, forget TikTok. I don't even know how to use it
You
anyway.
don't know how to use it anyway.
James?
Follow Joy on socials at Joy Delaney Cox on Instagram and Facebook. See you next week.